Sports podcast in the game, JT and the Don, with your hosts, Jimmy Thompson and Donato Bucci. They're covering the most current issues in sports from the 305 to the 412 and all the way to the West Coast. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at JT and the Don, or email them at jtandthedon@gmail.com. Now take it away, guys.
Give them a shot to do what?
Welcome to the next episode of JT and the Don, presented by Give Us a Shot Network. I am the Don, Donato Bucci, and remember to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember to leave us a 5-star review. And remember to subscribe to the Give Us a Shot Network YouTube channel. Sorry for the delay. Had some technical difficulties in the DC studio. That is what happens when everyone's favorite JT, Jimmy Thompson, doesn't pay the bills on time in the DC studio. So, with that, let's welcome in everyone's favorite JT, Jimmy Thompson. How you feeling today?
Do not blame me for your tech shortcomings. Like, this has everything to do with you being an old man that has no idea how to deal with technology. That's all this is. So look, we're gonna do this show real fast because I don't know how much battery life you got left. I don't want you to cut out midpoint, and then you're saying that we were like trying to silence you because you couldn't get your answer out. So actually, let's get to it because I know you got like 10% battery. You like an iPhone type of guy.
Nah, Android. But so we have our annual NFL preview show, all right, to get you ready and informed for the NFL season with a special guest. All right, so let's welcome in our guest, but no stranger to the show. He is our NFL expert, former NFL offensive lineman for the Atlanta Falcons and Houston Texans. So, Kendall Calhoun, welcome back to the show. King Ken, how you doing? And thanks for coming on again.
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be back, man. Let's get talking about some football, man. Season's right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious, man. You got to answer this question. Where you always getting all this Cincinnati gear? You still on the payroll?
Hey.
Every time you come on this show, like I feel like the Cincinnati stuff that you got just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This man got a whole billboard behind him, like we wasn't gonna say nothing about it. Like where you get? Hey, you got a Whataburger towel? Let me see that.
Yeah, yes, sir. I got the bag. It's all Whataburger, man.
Oh man, hey, my wife gonna ask you to send that, man. Come on, man. Like he getting NIL deals from Cincinnati still, man. I'm convinced.
Hey, I graduated at the wrong time. I wish.
Hey, man, next you know, he going to be on the show. He going to have, like, a full helmet, gear still, all that stuff, the brand new stuff.
I'm at the mannequin behind me with the full gear.
Exactly.
He gets the retroactive NIL deals. Don't be jealous, JT. Why you always got to be jealous?
Hey, man, if you got any extra, send me some, man. Hey, look, I want something like that behind my wall, man. So
okay,
I'll take that.
That'd be great for the DC studio, actually, Kendall. So let's get started. Let's go quarterbacks right out the gate. Maybe the most important position in all of sports, only behind offensive lineman, King Ken. So there are a few that are under the microscope this upcoming season. So let me first start with you right off the bat here. Which QB is under the most pressure this year?
For me, honestly, I would say Dak. It's time for him to actually compete for a Super Bowl. It's been long enough. It's been plenty of years, enough contract extensions, but they're starting to put pressure on him right now. Of course, they signed Trey Lance. They didn't sign him to be Dak's backup. They signed him to groom him into that position. I believe they lit that fire underneath the stove and said, all right, it's time to start cooking, big boy.
All right. Ken coming out firing real quick, even in his current home, even in his current state of Texas. So, all right, I like that. I like that. Go big or go home. JT, who do you got?
Ken, I don't know why you acting like this. We just talked about this before the show, man. Why you throwing Dak out there like he's trash, man? Y'all acting like he's Ryan Leaf or somebody, like he's just not going to be good. He ain't Jamarcus Russell, man. Come on. No, I mean, Dak's always under pressure because he plays for the Cowboys, so you can't go wrong with that. But I'm going to go with unpopular opinion. Easily the quarterback that has the most pressure is Brock Purdy. Like, his situation that he is in right now, I wouldn't want to be in that if you pay me his salary. Like, you just mentioned Trey Lance. Like, you forget, the 49ers probably traded the most first-round picks ever to move up to get a quarterback in Trey Lance. That didn't work out. They traded him to the Cowboys. This roster is Super Bowl ready, and I feel like the past year and a half, the teammates on the 49ers have been saying, like, hey, yeah, Brock Purdy's the guy. Like, he's the guy that can take us to a Super Bowl. We prefer him as a starter over Trey Lance. And then Brock Purdy's success is really going to determine Shanahan and John Lynch's futures at their jobs with the 49ers. And he's coming off a torn UCL. I'm sorry, Josh Allen doesn't even have this type of pressure. Like, I wouldn't want to be Brock Purdy because everybody is relying on him to get the job done. And we forget, like, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, 7th round draft pick, yeah.
Forget, like, it's not like this guy was supposed to set the league on fire and all of a sudden now they're expecting him to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. So it's got to be him with the most pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are good answers, but I'm going to go Russell Wilson and look at it a different way. I think it's about legacy, and that's why the pressure is there. You look at the last 2 years, if he comes with another bad year, this time under Sean Payton, like Payton could bench him. Like, Payton's not going to have the patience that, hey, you're just turning it over, not playing well. Like, that's not really his QB. He inherited him, but it's not his QB. Russell Wilson's already 34. He's got 3 years left on his deal, $100 million. So when you think about it, if he gets benched by Sean Payton, there's no other team that's going to want him at 34 with that sort of contract. And it's basically over $100 million in guaranteed money left on it. And this is how we're going to remember him. Like, the younger generation doesn't remember how good he was in Seattle because the last 2 years, and if he's bad again this year, that's how they'll remember him. And think about us, even our generation. Not that I say it, but I do think some other people say it is the Legion of Boom won him that Super Bowl. And then he followed that up with throwing interception at the goal line. I mean, if you're talking about instant pressure, yes, I think you guys are both correct with who you pick. But if we're talking about pressure overall and like legacy on the line, it's easily Russell Wilson at this point.
Now I gotta disagree with you only because I don't see Russell Wilson having more pressure than Dak Prescott. Like, I feel like Dak is in that Lamar stratosphere of just yearly pressure no matter what he does. Like, Dak could win an MVP this year, and like if they don't win a Super Bowl, he's still gonna be under pressure.
They're trying to get him out.
But guys, like, this is the thing. He's not going anywhere. His job is like, you really think he's going to lose his job to Trey Lance if he has an MVP type season?
Look,
I don't know.
Hey, look, you forget what happened to Dak last year. He got hurt. Cooper Rush comes in, gets carried by the Legion of Boom.
But
everybody's like, oh, Cooper Rush can play better than Dak. Like, it happens. And they didn't even want to pay Dak in the first place.
But who came back regardless of Cooper Rush's record? Who ended up starting as soon as he was healthy?
The guy who got paid more money. I get it.
Of course. They paid him. They had to play him.
Yeah.
All right. So where's their pressure?
Russ just chilling, man.
Tell me how that is more pressure than legacy on the line for Russell Wilson being one of the greats.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Legacy for Russ, I feel like it's already written because people are never going to put him in the top 10. It's already written. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and we've already seen the bottom fall out. So
he already won.
Yeah, he already won.
Yeah, he already has a Super Bowl.
I'm saying he's never going to be in that conversation.
Okay, but there's a difference between being Joe Flacco and Brad Johnson compared to a guy who's won two Super Bowls like Ben Roethlisberger. That's what Russell's in
Russ's legacy is already set. Like, he is what he is. Like, Dak can still build on his. That's why there's more pressure.
I disagree. All right. So, Kendall, let me start with you. Which rookie QB will perform the best?
Okay, this is an interesting answer, but I have C.J. Stroud because I think he was the best overall quarterback in the class as far as decision-making, athleticism, accuracy.
Preach, King Ken, preach.
But the Texans doesn't have that many athletes around them, so he's going to be doing a lot of that on his own. I hope he doesn't go down the path that Justin Field kind of went into his first year, because he didn't have that many athletes around him and he kind of suffered. But I'm pretty optimistic about the Texans. They're starting to build a team around them, so hopefully he'll get that done.
I like it. Listen, I'm going to piggyback off of that, and then I'll let JT go. I agree 100%. There's a couple reasons. I think, again, he's the most ready for the NFL. But then you look, he's got Dameon Pierce, so he has a run game. He's got an all-pro left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. King Ken, you're a lineman. You know what is a quarterback's two favorite things, a run game and a guy that can protect his blind side. He's got both of those there. Safety blanket with Schultz. And listen, he's got young, speedy receivers. I mean, what else could a young quarterback want? I think it's set up perfect for him. So, JT, do you agree with us or no?
Yeah, I mean, I agree as Stroud. The only thing I'm gonna push back on is I don't think he's in the same situation as Justin Fields, because one, Justin Fields had maybe the worst coach ever, and I don't think DeMeco Ryans is that bad. Like,
but I'm just saying the help. I'm just saying he just had the same amount of help. I would say.
And honestly, I'm picking Stroud because of what you said before we started this show. You was like, "Hey, look, if the talent around him's not good enough at first, he can just do it himself. He can throw it to himself and catch it." So y'all believe CJ Stroud is superhuman and can do it all, and I'm gonna buy into that. But I do think he's in the best situation, oddly enough, because Bryce Young, I haven't seen any highlight where he's not getting knocked to the ground in the preseason. Yeah. Anthony Richardson can't pass, at least not yet. So CJ Stroud at least can play quarterback, and he's going to be in the best situation to be protected by his offensive line. So I do think he'll be the best rookie quarterback, even though I don't think the Texans will win many games, though. So I still disagree with you on that, Ken. I don't think they're going to win many games.
So they can only go. I said they can only go up from there, though.
Instead of 2, they're gonna go to 3, man.
Yeah, they can only go up. They can only improve.
That's what I like about Ken. When he like a team, or he like a player, man, like it's to the moon. He's all optimistic about him.
He's ride or die.
But okay, like, there's no way we can't talk about running backs, NFL. Like, they're the hot topic.
Favorite position.
Definitely not your favorite position, because you have no respect for running backs.
Hey, so I love O-linemen. O-linemen, King Ken.
Look, don't fall for it, Ken, man. He don't like them either. But NFL running backs, we talk about them all off season, all the controversy. You got guys like Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Saquon signing those franchise tags instead of getting signed to long-term deals. So all the drama that's going on with the running backs, you got to ask this question. Are running backs being underpaid or undervalued, and how do we fix that for them?
I guess I can go ahead and take this one. So,
my bad. You just always come to you because you're the expert.
Okay. So they are definitely undervalued now. So, and I say that because, you know how they say you have to buy the insurance before you buy the house. So when they're drafting offensive linemen, what do you think is more important? Is he a good pass blocker, or is he a good run blocker? They're going to take the pass blocker. Let me write that down,
what you just said. I need to buy the insurance before the house, because I definitely get that backwards.
Too late. You already bought the mansion, JT.
I did not get the insurance first. Let me make sure I do that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You bought the mansion already. Too late.
Bro, we're not getting into it. Let this man continue with his answer.
Yeah, so like I was saying, when you draft in the first round draft pick offensive lineman, you're looking to see if he can pass protect first. Like, that's the instinct. They're looking for those long, athletic guys because this is a passing league. So we're looking for running backs that can run routes, that can get out in space, get into the flats, those little curl routes, because they're really focusing on passing now. Running isn't as big as it was, say, like in the early 2000s, say like in the 90s. So the only way they can fix that really is honestly, at this point, I don't know, because it's like they're paying these receivers, they're paying these quarterbacks, and it's just they're leaving out these running backs.
All right, Don. Well, I know your answer, and I just want everyone to hear how inhumane and just heartless this is. first of all, are they underpaid and undervalued? Yes or no?
So underpaid, no, I don't believe they are, because their risk for injury, I think, is higher than almost any other position. Plus, you get a lot of running back by committees that can do the same thing. You can't do a wide receiver by committee. Like you could replace a Dalvin Cook.
The Chiefs do it.
But exactly. But they do a running back by committee. But
I mean, a wide receiver by committee.
They also have Patrick Mahomes. If they didn't have Patrick Mahomes, you need to have that number one. There's no way you're replaced by a committee, a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson, all right? Kirk Cousins is better because of Justin Jefferson. Now, undervalued, yes, because I think there's become a less appreciation for the running back, and I think that is wrong, because when you have those great running backs that are 3-down sort of running backs, that is – you can't measure that, right? You can't measure that in dollars. You maybe can't measure that in points. And like the great ones, we should not undervalue, like McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, like the true game changers. But
you better throw Derrick Henry in there too, man.
And Derrick Henry. But the thing is, you still can't overpay for that. Like you just can't afford to do it, because then that means you sacrifice paying the left tackle to protect your franchise quarterback. Does that mean you can't pay your franchise quarterback? Like, look what happened with Dallas with Ezekiel Elliott. So, that's the way I look at it for that. And then did you ask about fixing it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So how do we fix it?
Well, I've told you this before. If you got to wait for the CBA, and then if you want to do it earlier, if I'm a running back, like Jonathan Taylor 2 years ago when he had that big breakout, I go to the Colts and say, listen, I will hold out, but if you offer me more of a fully guaranteed deal now, and I'll take less money overall, like a 3-year, whatever, $34, $33 million deal, let's do it. Fully guaranteed next 3 years. Then that way, come this year, he didn't need to worry about it anymore. Neither did the Colts. So take less money. Don't be as greedy, but take less money, but for more guaranteed money. And I think both the team and the players would be willing to do it, because now I'm getting Jonathan Taylor in his prime for 3 years at $12 million against the cap. That's unbelievable if you could do that. But the question is, would the running back be able to take that less money, knowing that, maybe he passes on $50 million?
Yeah, this is my last ride.
But you're never going to see the end of that $50 million deal anyway. So
I think it depends on the running back, though. Like, if it's Jonathan Taylor, maybe you can bet on yourself to hit free agency. But if I'm like look at a guy like James Robinson, a flash in the pan. Like, he didn't get drafted. He had one good year. He could have went to the Jags and do what you're saying, which I think is a good idea. Like, hey, give me maybe like $20 million over the next 3 years, and he would have made out like a bandit. Like, I think it depends on the running back.
But even Jonathan Taylor, JT, we talk about all the time. The team has the power. Look what's happening now. Jonathan Taylor, we need to see him before anything else now. So even if he is free agent,
Jonathan Taylor, we do need to see you. We got fantasy teams riding on this man coming back.
They'll franchise tag him, right? So what good is that? Well, what's it matter? Bet on yourself early. Maybe you'll get to a second contract, or you get franchise tag, and now you've got back-to-back franchise tags plus a 3-year extension. You got 5 years of guaranteed money.
Well, let's not dwell on JT too much, because we're going to talk about him in a second. So I want you to save that. But I agree with you guys. I don't think they're underpaid. And the reason I think this is because I actually went through and looked at the salaries for all the top running backs in the league. I think like the top 20. And if anything, I noticed that there's just not a lot of really elite talented guys that play running back in the NFL. And the ones that are, they're getting paid. Like, if you look at all the guys that are making $10 million or above per year in the NFL that are running backs, that list of guys, you're like, hey, they're getting paid what they are worth. Like, the guys below that have no business making that much money. Like, I look at Naheem Hines making like $3 million this year, and he not even playing. And even if he did play, he wasn't going to be worth $3 million worth. So they do get paid. So I don't think they're underpaid. Now, undervalued, I agree, because I think the game has gone to a passing league, like you guys have said. But I feel like that's just the word that's out there, that everyone's just thinking like, oh, running backs, we don't need them. Like, we could do it in a group. Like, they're going to get hurt. And the reality is, everybody in the NFL gets hurt. Like, Joe Burrow's been hurt multiple times, and like, nobody cares. They're going to give him $100 million. Lamar Jackson, I love the guy, but he's been hurt too. They gave him $200 million. So It's the NFL. Everyone gets hurt. Now, how do I think they should fix?
Before you answer, can I push back a little bit? When you say underpaid, I don't think that they're arguing that the top backs are underpaid, because they're not. But I think they're arguing they're underpaid with guaranteed money compared to the other positions.
That I can get with. But when you look at some of the contracts of the big guys, I mean, they're making out a lot of money on the guarantee side.
But don't they have to
per what the contract is worth?
Yeah.
But they really have to fight for it, and some of it, JT, is franchise tag. So it's really only 1 year of guaranteed money.
I mean, if we want to be honest, the real reason the running backs aren't getting the money is because their teammates are greedy. Like, that's really what it is.
That's why I said the quarterbacks and the receivers. That's why it ties back in together that they're undervalued.
Dalvin Cook can still be a top running back in the league, right? Y'all agree with that?
Probably still could be.
Okay, they paid the tight end before they paid him. They haven't even paid JJ yet. Like, they paid the tight end $17 million a year. You know what you could have did with that? And you got guys like, let's say, like Danielle Hunter on that same team. They paid him his deal. He made 95% of the money already on that contract. Negotiated to have his last year of the deal be low. And what does he do? He's like, I'm not showing up until you guys give me more money. They already paid you the deal that you negotiated. So they had to pay him $20 million for 1 year. And now they can't pay anybody else. So, Ken, I agree with you. It's the teammates. They being greedy. But to fix it, Don, I'm gonna piggyback off of this. I feel like we've maybe talked about this in some capacity before, but I'm going to take it a step further with the CBA. I think the running backs, if I'm a running back, I'm going to my rep and saying, look, we got to find a way to negotiate the length of rookie contracts for running backs. Because that's the biggest detriment to running backs is they come into the league and you're on that rookie deal for 4 to 5 years. Like, that's longer than the average career span of an NFL player. The only way you're making money as a running back is you're a first-round pick and you got that first-round money, or you just happen to make it to the end and someone signs you to a deal. The latter is becoming less and less likely to happen for running backs, because if you're in the league for 4 to 5 years, they're going to look at stuff like, oh, how many carries does he have? Like, this and that. How many games has he played? And then we'll just franchise him that last year and see if it works out. You got to find a way to get these rookie deals to be shorter that are not first-round contracts.
But again, JT, I think you got to go through the CBA. Kendall would know better than us, but first round, like, you're guaranteed 4 with a team option for 5, second round, third round, 4 years minimum. Like, that's what I'm saying. When you break out after the second year, that's where you come to them and say, hey, you know, the Colts last year when they got Matt Ryan, they thought, along with me, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. All right, if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I don't want to bring up old news, but if I'm Jonathan Taylor, last year is when I would have sat down and said, hold on a second. Hold on. You just brought in Matt Ryan to win a Super Bowl. What about paying your guy that you believe in? If not, I'm not showing up to training camp.
But what if it was this? Jonathan Taylor went in the second round of the draft. What if you assign contract lengths for running backs depending on what round they get drafted? Like,
I understand,
if he was, let's say if you're a round 2 pick, 3 years max, you can keep me on this rookie deal, and then it goes down as the rounds get lower.
But I understand that. That's great. But JT, you got to wait till like 2030 when the CBA is up.
Hey, look. I'm thinking for the future. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do for JT
that's a long
now.
time.
That's a long time.
For a running back, that's a very long time.
If you're Jonathan Taylor, you're not worried about the 2030 CBA. You're trying to get the bag now.
All right, so you've been hinting at this, so let's just talk about him, Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's the man of the hour. Like, everyone thought that he was going to be traded by this self-imposed deadline they gave him until 4 p.m. on Tuesday. We all thought that, you know, it was going to get done as he's going to get traded to maybe the Dolphins. We heard the Packers kind of came in at the last minute. But in Jim Irsay fashion, they didn't do the trade, and they placed him on the PUP list, which puts him out for the first 4 weeks of the year. So, Jonathan Taylor. And you know what? I'm going to go to Dom first because I know he's so passionate about this guy. He's out for the first 4 games on the PUP, which means even if he gets traded, he can't play. What should we expect from Jonathan Taylor this season?
Well, I personally think he plays because he wants to increase his trade value for 2 reasons. One, so the Colts then are willing to deal him because they get what they feel is fair market value in return, right? If he balls out, now teams may, like your Dolphins, give up a first-round pick, or maybe they throw in Jalen Waddle. I don't know. I'm just saying. So I think he plays to increase that, because think about it. What does him sitting out do? He becomes a year older.
He's some
still
healthy.
off.
He's some fresh.
Healthy. He's playing running back. That's the most physical position.
But you can't say fresh because he's coming off an injury.
No.
We need
Let me ask you a question.
Do.
Let me ask you a question, non-football related.
Oh man.
If I got Mike Tyson to punch you in the face one day a week, 17 weeks, or I let you sit at home, which one is going to have you more rested?
But JT, the question should be, if the 50th punch or the first punch, which one knocks me out more likely? It doesn't matter.
You got to come back.
Exactly. So him sitting out to be fresh that's irrelevant when you're coming off of injury. You need to get the rust out, and you need to show you're worth the value.
Pay me for my rust removal. That's a service.
Knock the rust out on the new team.
Pay me for my rust removal. That's a service.
I agree with that. But
Deshaun did that.
Kendall, if you're a GM, if you're a GM,
Kendall, can you fight him back on this? Tell this man what to expect from JT, because I feel like he just I don't want to hear him no more.
I think he's gonna sit out. Personally,
where's that gonna get him? Where's that gonna get him?
He's gonna be well rested. He came back from the injury. He's like a hot ticket right now. He's the
so
top
does
of
he
the town.
Play, does he play for the Colts again after he sits out?
No, I think he's gonna go somewhere else.
But Kendall, you think Jim Irsay? You know the NFL better. Jim Irsay seems pretty vindictive. You think that guy's gonna let JT sit out and then trade him to a place where they'll pay him? No, he'll say, you know what? You can be a Colt forever. We don't got to pay you, and neither are you going to get paid, because we want Jalen Waddle in a first-round pick. And Miami will never give that to them if he does not ball out and show up. I'm just saying, we're dealing with Jim Irsay.
Hey, I don't know. We've seen crazier things happen. So, hey, all right. Best of luck to Mr. Taylor. But
Don thinks he's going to play. Kendall says no way. He about to pull a tank job and sit out. I will say this, Don. I agree with you. I think he's going to play, but I don't think it'll be for the Colts. I think they're going to find a trade partner for him, because to be honest with you, this is as high as his value.
The only way I say he does play is with another team. I should say that. Yeah. Not playing as a Colt. I'll just say that straight out.
So you think he's done with the Colts?
Yeah, I think he's done with the Colts.
See, that's why we bring him on. The man know what he's talking about. He's a genius. The man know about football. But I agree.
That is why he's our expert.
I think he gets traded, because you got to think, if you're the Colts and Jim Irsay, his value is never going to be as guaranteed to be as high as it is right now, because he plays a game for you, comes out, gets hurt again. You kiss all that trade value goodbye. So I think him not coming off the PUP list clearly shows that the Colts want to trade him, but they want to get the right value without damaging their asset. And for Jonathan Taylor, I understand why he doesn't want to be there now, because he sees the writing on the wall. First of all, you got to think, Jonathan Taylor until last year had never missed a game. Like, not in high school, not in college. So this is like his first major injury, which is crazy to think about, a guy playing running back that long, and he's never been hurt until now. And then I think he is not trusting the Colts a little bit, because he got hurt. They brought him back too soon. They said he was fine, and then he got out there and got hurt again. So if I've never been punched before, and you tell me like, hey, go back out there, Mike Tyson, this lucky shot, he ain't gonna hit you that hard again, and then I get hit hard again, I'm not gonna trust you. So I think that's why he wants to leave the Colts. And he also sees the writing on the wall. He's gonna come in there and be the punching bag for rookie quarterback's development. And when the time Anthony Richardson is ready to play, he's gonna be too worn down to even matter on the open market. So if he sees the writing on the wall, exactly, get me out of here. So I do think he'll get traded. I think it's either going to be the Dolphins or the Packers, and I think they'll get a deal done. I'm speaking this into existence for fantasy, obviously, but I think they'll get a deal done by then.
Man, you guys, so optimistic about that. You forget we're dealing with Jim Irsay. Don't forget that.
I know Jim Irsay would rather spend money on a killer whale than it's all pro running back. I get it.
So let's introduce a new segment. JT wants to give this a try, specifically for this year's NFL preview show. Why you roll your eyes? I mean, it's true. So, Kendall, and to the fans and listeners out there, we like to call it the checkdown game. All right.
Oh, he likes to call it the checkdown game.
Yeah. Hey, quick little pass, check down, very safe. Hey, but it's entertaining, right? So we'll read a question, then we'll give you options, similar to like a multiple choice test for the answer. So the first question, Kendall, who has more pressure, Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson?
So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers because there's a lot of hype going around the Jets. And this is first time not being on the Packers. And I'm not comparing the two quarterbacks before I say this, but it's kind of reminding me of the same hype that Brady had when he left New England and went to Tampa Bay, because they were saying, oh, Belichick is the one doing all this. It's not really Tom. So we're really going to see, because Aaron's had issues with head coaches, players. He's literally almost cleaned house in Green Bay to try to win, but it never really came to fruition. So they're definitely going to be looking for him to win big. And
okay. Yep. JT, you agree?
No, I gotta disagree. Even though I think the answers for this is close. It's close because I mean, Hard Knocks will do that to you, and he's playing in New York. So I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like anywhere he goes, they're expecting that team to win the Super Bowl. So I agree with you on that pressure. But I'm just looking at Deshaun Watson, man. Like you forget, the Browns almost broke the NFL like open market paying this dude for him to come back, and now people saying he looked washed. And you got to factor in some people don't even want to see him play based on what he did off the field before he came to Cleveland. I'm sorry. If Deshaun Watson doesn't come out and play at an all-pro or damn near all-pro level this year, just watch how people are going to talk about him. Like, you're going to start seeing, like, this is maybe the worst contract in NFL history. So I think the pressure is all on him because he's got to play up to talent on the field to save his on and off the field reputation. So I think the pressure is on him for that reason.
So Kendall, see how like JT always tries to make me out to be the bad guy, but at least I'm honest with you. When I disagree with you, I tell you. I don't try to come back and be like, well, I always got to agree with the expert. He just went against you. So what happened though? Everything you said, JT, like, oh, that's why he's the expert. Got to agree with him. But Kendall, I agree with you here because it's Aaron Rodgers. It's New York City and the New York media. That may be the most pressure in all of sports. Then you have the expectations. Like, they're talking Super Bowl. Mike Greenberg every morning is on ESPN national television saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. And then he forced his way out of Green Bay. You can't do that and then show up and play like garbage. You can't. Yep. Deshaun Watson, he's almost forgotten at this point. Plus, he's already faced all that pressure over the past 3 years of the contract, then people not wanting him to succeed in Cleveland. Like, he's almost an afterthought. Like, he really is. And he plays in Cleveland. Like get over it. It's
I know you think Cleveland is irrelevant, but people paying attention to Deshaun. But I just disagree with you. Okay. It's close, though. It's close.
Okay. All right. So, Kendall, sticking with that, who has more pressure, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields?
I'll say Justin Fields, just being as he hasn't had much success because I'm going to talk a little bit more about Trevor than Justin because, Trevor, he really started to come to himself more so later on in the season last year because, they went to the playoffs. People really weren't expecting that. So I really think it's time for Justin to really get the Bears to win some games. Like, it's time. It's true. If Trevor can do it with the Jags, he should be able to do it with the Bears. That's where I'm at. Same caliber teams.
JT may not agree. Let's see, JT.
I guess I got to stay true to myself. I disagree with you, even though you are the expert. I'm not going to dress it up. I'm not going to be nice about it. See, he making me do this. I don't disagree with you, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. Did I do it right, Don? Is that the way I should have told it to him?
No, just don't come out and say, "Oh, he's the expert."
He is.
Agree with him. Like, he's family now.
That's like if my doctor tell me to do something and I don't think I should. I'll be like, I respectfully disagree, doc. This is what I'm thinking. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not invalidating his opinion, but I do think it's
respectfully disagree.
I do think it's Justin Fields for everything you said. And I think Justin Fields is dealing with the same thing Lamar Jackson dealt with. One, people don't think he's a good quarterback, regardless of what he does, because he's a running quarterback and the limited success that he's had. And also, I think there's some people that don't think Justin Fields should be playing quarterback. So that's always hard for a guy like that to not have pressure. And now they bring in all this talent around him. And now I think people expect him to win. And the other reason why I'm picking Justin Fields is because this is how I feel. I feel like people just don't care about Trevor Lawrence. I feel like there's just no pressure on him. There's no pressure. There's no hype. For a guy that was this generational prospect and number 1 overall pick and has already failed, I feel like people just don't talk about him. Like nobody's talking about Justin. Like nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence. Like I don't hear him in any MVP discussions. I don't hear him as the next great quarterback. Like everyone's talking about will Justin Fields succeed or not. Nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence, and he's the number 1.
Trevor was number 1. Yeah.
So that's why I feel like there's more pressure because nobody cares about Trevor.
Well, it is because he's in Jacksonville. I mean, that plays a part why there's no pressure. And he just took his team to the playoffs. But yeah, you guys are right. It's Justin Fields, and I look at it as the only thing more than fighting for your job is your legacy. That's why I said Russell Wilson. But here, Justin Fields is fighting for his job, maybe his starting NFL quarterback career, right? So, he already has all these doubters. If he doesn't come out and play well, he may not have a starting job next year. It's a shame for people to say that he shouldn't even be a quarterback. Like, come on. Like, he was phenomenal at Ohio State. You know, he's done some really good things last year.
And he survived playing under Matt Nagy. Like, forget, he survived this man intentionally trying to kill him.
Plus, the O-line was not very good, so he survived physically as well.
That alone should get him an MVP vote. I'm sorry.
No
if you survive 2 seasons under Nagy, you should get some MVP votes.
Definitely.
So, Kendall, last one of who has the more pressure, Brock Purdy or Josh Allen?
This is actually a kind of hard one. But like we briefly mentioned earlier, the 49ers, they took away Trey Lance, and they're putting all the pressure on Brock. But also Brock, of course, was Mr. Relevant, the last pick of the draft. And the culture in the NFL, like as far as draft picks and things like that, really the only people that supposedly supposed to get to the second contract are really people that are drafted in the first 4 rounds. So to be a 7th round draft pick, the last pick at that, to be in a position to be a starter, that's some major pressure. People weren't expecting him to be at this platform this early. So he definitely has that pressure because it's all on him right now.
I think JT agrees with you here because you mentioned it earlier. So JT,
this is how he wants me to answer the question, and that's why he's the expert. That's why we bring him on. That's why we listen to him because the man knows what he's talking about. He couldn't have said a more correct answer than he just did. Yeah, it's Brock Purdy for all the things that I mentioned before previously. All the pressure's on him.
I agree with you guys. The only thing I'll add is the 49ers have shown they'll move on from you. Jimmy G took them to a Super Bowl. Hey, we're going to draft Trey Lance. Oh, hey, Trey Lance, you can't play well. Here comes Brock Purdy. So, they've shown they'll cycle.
Revolving door.
And the funny thing is it's not done yet because if Trey Lance does what I think he's going to do, Sam Darnold going to be the next man up, and they're going to be throwing Brock Purdy to the side. Watch. I guarantee you Sam Darnold will start games this year for the 49ers.
You never know. All right, so the next question. What is more likely to happen? We'll give you 2 scenarios. You tell us which is more likely to happen. All right. So what's more likely to happen? Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield starting more games this season?
Okay. I guess I'll take this one. Honestly, I would say Kyler Murray because in Arizona, he is their guy in Arizona. And, of course, Baker, he was competing with Kyle Trask up until the end of the preseason. So if you compete with somebody in the preseason, that means you're only a handful of mistakes away from getting replaced. I mean, that's how I see it.
JT?
Respectfully, I got to disagree with you. No, because Kyler Murray was competing with somebody, management. And I'm sorry, Kyler Murray is never going to play again for the Arizona Cardinals. He's not going to play this year. They already tanking. They're showing. They cut Colt McCoy. They traded for Josh Dobbs, and now he's already the starter. This team is bad. It's a new coaching staff. And a new front office. They didn't sign him to the deal that he's under. And they got the number 1 and possibly number 3 or 2 picks next year in a quarterback-loaded draft in Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, Kyler Murray is not playing.
Think about it. The Cardinals have literally never gotten it right. Didn't they draft Josh Rosen number 1 overall and then drafted him number 1 overall and they just both never panned out?
Yeah, so you should expect that the Cardinals are going to be the best. There's no way Kyler Murray plays this year. I'm sorry. Baker will at least start week 1, and I know he'll do that. Kyler's not coming back.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's Baker Mayfield. He's not going to be as bad as everyone thinks. and the Cardinals are trying to tank. Plus, even if he is the QB of the future, why rush him back from the ACL injury? But I think Baker won't be as bad as we all think.
So as bad as we've seen him be?
What's that?
You mean he won't be as bad as we've seen him be?
He's had his moments too. Like he's a good backup NFL quarterback that'll get you stretches of games. And Tampa doesn't have a true starting quarterback, so it's going to be Baker.
Sean Tucker season.
What is more likely to happen? Patrick Mahomes repeats as MVP, or Daniel Jones throws 25 or more passing touchdowns?
Keep in mind, he threw 15 last year.
This is a really tough one, though.
It is. This has been the toughest.
Because, honestly, dead serious, I think Patrick Mahomes is the best offensive player in the NFL. I do. But Daniel Jones, he has some – they starting to get him a little bit more help. Like, I think I'm really big on Jalen Hyatt, then the receiver that they got. I'm really big on him. So I think he can make up those 10 touchdowns from the 15 that he threw last year. I think he can make up for that.
Okay.
But, so I guess I'm going to go with
Danny Dimes. You going Danny Dimes?
I throw a wild card. Yeah, I'm going
Danny Dimes. I like it. Hey, that's why Kendall's not scared to go out and live every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, why not roll the dice?
All right. I like it. JT?
Hey, what do they call it when you're betting and it's like it's even? What is that called?
What do you mean? Like
the odds are anything. It's like what do they call like a push or something? Like when you're betting on two teams.
Well, a pick'em would be like 50-50.
This is a pick'em. Honestly, I can see both of these things happening.
Yeah,
I can see Daniel Jones throwing for 26 touchdowns and Patrick Mahomes winning the MVP. I feel like it's the same odds, but if I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with Mahomes winning the second MVP because he's the type of guy they would give multiple MVPs to, even if he didn't play as well as he did the previous season. But I think 25 touchdowns might be a lot for Daniel Jones to even get to, much less surpass. That means he got to throw at least 10 more touchdowns than he did last year. The only person they gave him was Darren Waller. And, I mean, he ain't guaranteed to play all 17. So I'm going with Mahomes winning another MVP.
Yeah, if money's on the line, I'm going Mahomes because I've seen it before from him. So I'll go Mahomes just for that reason of money on the line. All right, next one. What is more likely to happen? Lamar Jackson plays all 17 regular season games, or Tua plays all 17 regular season games? King Ken?
This is interesting. All right, JT, I'm going to apologize beforehand.
Hey, don't apologize to him. You don't.
Hey, the man got respect, man. He got respect. Let him do his thing.
Apologize.
He's going to show you. He's going to show you how you should carry yourself on the show. He said he's going to apologize. Let the man speak.
The thing about it is, I would have went with Tua, but the thing about it, if he gets like one more concussion, he should be done. He should have been done last year, in my opinion. But I know he has some things to prove, and I know he's going to be pretty hungry coming out this year, but Lamar got the bag. Like, he has to perform now. Like, he got the bag. Like, regardless what type of sprain he got, like, they're going to tape him up like they did Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl with the ankle. They're going to tape him up. He said, because they got to get that. They're going to get that money out of him one way or another. Like, they're going to get a juicer and squeeze. They're going to squeeze that contract out of him. So I think they're going to make him play those games.
That's good. That's good. You got to make sure that's a clip, JT. That's a clip for Instagram. JT, who do you got?
I got to agree with him for two reasons. One, like, I think Tua is just one hit away from them having to be overcautious. And I'm sorry, I've watched the Dolphins this offseason. That O-line is not better. So I know they're teaching him how to fall better, but I'm sorry. If you get hit, you're going to fall the same way. And Lamar, they paid him the bag like Kid said, but guess what they did? They're like, all right, we're going to protect our investment. We're going to go out and get you a coach that will make you pass the ball more. So I think you're going to see him run less and pass more. And that's why he's going to play more games than Tua. Like, I don't think there's any way Tua makes it through the season without missing games.
Yeah, I think it's Lamar as King. King Ken, say it again. What are they going to get out of Lamar? What are they going to do?
Oh, they're going to squeeze. Oh, they're going to get a lemon squeezer. They ain't get that money out of him. They got to.
that new contract, there's good vibes out in Baltimore. I think he's invested. They're invested. He plays all 17 regular season games. For Tua's sake, I hope he does as well. But if I had to pick one of the two, it'd be Lamar. All right, King Ken, Atlanta Falcons talk a little bit. Bijan Robinson wins the rushing title, or Nick Chubb wins it. Which is more likely?
I mean, Bijan's like a rookie. I would like for him to win it, but like Nick Chubb is just a vet, and he's been consistent like for so long. I really don't think he's gonna knock off Nick Chubb. Like I don't.
Okay.
Nick Chubb is like he's a workhorse.
Yeah.
He is definitely. So
JT, you gonna go with your guy?
Yeah, and I'm gonna use common sense on this one. It's gonna be Nick Chubb for two reasons. The one is the Browns only have 3 running backs on their roster, and one of the running backs is a small pass catching back that they just traded for. So what that tells me is they're not planning to take Nick Chubb off the field, which be exactly that man gonna eat. And then you look at Bijan's situation; he's talented and a rookie, but he got one of the best backups in the league in Algier running behind him. Like, you don't think Algier, who had 1,000 yards as a rookie, is just not going to get any touches? And then they still got Cordero Patterson, who could still, spell him and take away carries. So I just think it's just opportunity and talent for Nick Chubb, and I don't think Bijan has that same opportunity. So I would pick Chubb to have more rushing yards.
I'm going to go Bijan. He's younger, plays in an easier division defensively, and they're going to feed him to help their young quarterback, Desmond Ridder. So I'll buy the hype. I'll go with him. Plus, I don't want to pick a Cleveland guy to ever win anything. So
hold on. Before you go on, Mike Regina says, I would definitely trade all my draft picks for Nick Chubb. Yes, we know. We know because you've already done this, and you have set the league back a decade by trading multiple first-round picks for Nick Chubb. So when people write in comments like this and guys are like, yeah, he would never do that. This guy would. He did. Mike Regina, we love you. Thank you for listening. But yes, this is not something I would do, but he is all in on Nick Chubb. So he believes that Nick Chubb will lead the league in rushing.
Mike Regina, great guy. He's not lying there with his statement. But JT, what I can't stand is I've offered so many deals for that guy. I've made him great offers. And then he turns around and makes a trade with you. I can't believe it. Anyway,
hey, look, man. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's you, because you try to talk bad about me doing all these trades, and people just trade with me all the time. Maybe I'm not as unlikable as you would like people to think. You ever think about that? I think people are waking up, man.
They're fooled. All right. So, what is more likely to happen, Kendall? The Jets miss the playoffs, or the Dolphins miss the playoffs?
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins because I just don't see them win. The thing about it, I just don't see them winning those games to get into playoffs. I just don't right now. I know they have Cheetah and they have Waddle, but honestly, I don't think that's enough because, hey, I didn't say this, so don't shoot the messenger. Y'all said the offensive line wasn't like that when you were looking in the preseason and during training camp. So,
man, you know that offensive line not good. You act like, oh, you saw the Dolphins. You're like, I just couldn't see anything from the offensive line. You're an offensive lineman. You have watched them. You know we don't have a good offensive line. Trying to be nice about it.
I'm guessing, JT, you don't agree with him.
No, I don't, because the Dolphins have shown they can make the playoffs with this team that they have, and they're only going to get better. Like, they've added more talent, and Jonathan Taylor could be on the way. How could I say they're not going to make the playoffs? So here's the thing with the Jets, though. That team is basically the same team they had last year. The only addition is Aaron Rodgers, which is a big addition. But Aaron Rodgers, let's be real, he's not enough to just take a team to the playoffs anymore. I don't think he is. The only player that is upgraded on that team from last year is we think Garrett Wilson's going to get better. For this team to make the playoffs, I'm telling you right now, Garrett Wilson will have to become a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL because everything else is going to regress. The defense is not going to play as good just out of sheer numbers. They're not going to play as good last year as they were last year. Breece Hall's not the same as he was last year. Dalvin Cook, the open trade market and free agency market told us that he is washed. And we acting like the Jets don't have a terrible offensive line too. Their left tackle can't even play 3 games in a row since he got into the league. I love Mekhi Becton, but
he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Aaron Rodgers, you watch Hard Knocks, he's just like, hey, look, man, just Just sit down, relax. We need you for the games. Like, you got Randall Cobb out there running routes. Like, that just tells you the depth issues that the Jets have. Like, I just don't see it. Like, I love Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he's enough to overcome and make this team be better than they were last year.
I'm going to agree with Kendall here. It's the Dolphins. It's just one of those gut feelings when everything looks great in peaches and roses or peaches and cream for the Dolphins. That's when it goes south real quick. And listen, I know that when JT here, all right, thinks the Dolphins got a really good team, they've improved, they're going to make the playoffs, sure thing. That's when I know the Dolphins are in trouble because the expectations are high and they're going to be let down. It's just the
team that you said were the next Cincinnati Bengals just like 10 months ago.
That was last year, yeah, and they were if Tua doesn't get hurt. So, all right, next one. I'm scared to ask this one. Hey, Kendall, JT wrote this one. Don't get upset with me. JT wrote this one. What is more likely to happen? Sauce Gardner has a sophomore slump, or Tariq Woolen has the sophomore slump?
Well, you already know my answer, so I'm just going to explain my answer. Well, of course, Sauce, he's riding really high right now, of course. And like I was saying, also, he's practicing daily against Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. So he's staying sharp, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Woolen, you know what I'm saying, he's practicing with DK and guys like that and Geno. But, like, there's a lot of hype swirling around the Jets along with Sauce, and he's a key component to that team. So I think he's still going to ride high. I'm really like his career is kind of reminding me kind of similar to how Jalen Ramsey was, like how he was just like those first couple of years, like he was going, like he was everywhere. So that's so I'm gonna go ahead and stick with Sauce on this one.
So
I'm saying that
you're saying we understand.
Sauce is gonna be good.
Right. Yeah. You're saying Woolen will have the sophomore slump. JT?
Man, first of all, what you're not going to do is disrespect the Seahawks receivers, because last time I checked, Sauce Gardner also going up against Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Lawrence Cager, and a bunch of guys that I didn't know existed until I watched Hard Knocks. Hey, look, Tariq Woolen out there going against DK, Lockett, and JSN, who putting people in a blender. Like, so I'm honestly, I got to say Sauce for a couple of reasons. One is the dude won Defensive Rookie of the Year. So what's the next step for him? Like he's got to be all pro again. And it's hard to be all pro back to back in the league. Like it just is. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you saw this play, but Jets played the Giants. I'm sorry, but Jalen Hyatt gave him that work. If he had a quarterback throwing that ball, hey, we'd be like, yo, what's wrong with Sauce? Because hey, Jalen Hyatt has Sauce roasted. 2 bad throws saved him, but that's just the difference, I think, between Sauce and Woolen, where I think Sauce was good so quick because he's already pro ready and he's an amazing all-around player. Technique's second to none, but he don't have that crazy athleticism and size that Woolen has, and I think that's why he'll continue to get better. I think Sauce is going to have the slump, but I don't think either of them is going to have a bad season. I'm going Woolen. I think he's going to show something this year, man.
So Kendall, see, you shouldn't apologize to JT ever, but I'll apologize to you because I'm going to go against you here. I think it's Sauce Gardner with the sophomore slump. He's got to face Diggs twice. He's got to face either Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle twice.
Both.
So both. So no matter what side of the field they put Sauce on, he's got to cover one of them, right? So that's twice a year. I think that's difficult. And there's a lot of hype around the Jets defense. And I think JT was on to something where when you get that much hype and you've already had such a good year, it's tough nowadays with free agency and coaches literally 24/7 with film to be able to repeat that sort of year. And I think they'll find some weaknesses with that defense, which may or may not expose Sauce Gardner, not because of anything he does, but just the way they can attack that defense. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to go.
And I'll add on to
this.
Agree
to disagree.
Well, I'll also add on to what he's saying, though. Here's the thing that we're not talking about, too. Let's say Aaron Rodgers comes in and does what he's supposed to do. That means the Jets are scoring more points, and that defense is on the field in more high-pressure situations. Like, that's what happens to Jalen Ramsey. Like, the Rams are always scoring points. Those games are high-scoring. And look, sometimes he's shutting them down. The next play, he's giving up a 80-yard bomb.
Only takes one play for the cornerback to look bad, even if he's had a great game. So
we did mention a Giants player, but I want to say this comment. Chris Walker says people are sleeping on the Giants. Look at the defensive moves they are making. I mean, yeah, Giants could be good. I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones is going to throw 25+ touchdowns, but I mean, they going to win. They made the playoffs.
Man, any shot, any time he gets a chance, Kendall, to take a shot at Danny Dimes, JT does it. All right, so last one of the more likely to happen. Ron Rivera is fired midseason, or Todd Bowles is fired midseason?
Hey, man. Honestly, if the Dolphins don't come out swinging, they're going to have to let go of Ron, and that's the only way. So that's what I'm going to go with.
You mean Washington?
Yes, my bad. I'm tripping. But Ron, yes, I'm going to go with Ron.
I mean, listen, it's understandable because we've been talking about JT's Dolphins this whole show. It is kind of sickening. So, JT
just staring at the hat. It's just it's like hypnotizing.
Yep.
It's working.
What's more likely to happen, JT?
Sorry, man. I love Todd Bowles, but he got to go. It's going to be him for a couple reasons. One, the main difference between the Bucs and the Commanders is the Commanders have no quarterback contingency plan. Their plan is the 2024 NFL draft. So the reason why they'll get him up out of there is, look, we can't have a Lovie Smith situation from last year happening where you out there the last few weeks of the season trying to rah-rah these guys up to win a game is going to cost us a chance to get Caleb Williams. So they're going to get him out of there just so that don't happen. And the Commanders, the Commanders are in a different situation because, yes, they're bad, but they got a quarterback that may have enough talent that they might want to evaluate, because if Sam Howell is as good as we think he's going to be and what the Twitter says he is, that means that Ron Rivera is going to actually try to win. And if Sam Howell is good, they're going to win some games. You're trying to tell me if Ron Rivera got this quarterback drafted, he performs well, and let's say they go like 8-8 or 9-8, but you trying to tell me they're going to fire Rivera? Like, that means they're going to be 500 all season, and it's not like they need to tank to get a quarterback in the draft. So for that reason alone, I think Ron Rivera's job is a little bit safer. We're like Bowles, like, if I was him, I would just quit now. I'd be like, yo, Byron, call the plays, pay me my money that you owe me, and I'm out. Like, because y'all not gonna have me sitting here like an embarrassment all season. Like, they have to tank.
Pay me that buyout. That's what JT.
Pay me that buyout. I'm going home.
Mr. Dwyer walking out. So Coach O said.
Exactly. I'll be on the beach just like him. I got my settlement money. I'm walking the beach. I'm talking to everybody.
Everybody.
And you're what?
I'm saying I'm walking the beach and I'm just talking to everybody because I got buyout money.
So you bring up a good point about Bowles end of the year trying to rally the troops, and they end up winning. So that's a good point. I just think that Washington will actually be pretty good. And with the new ownership, I don't think they want to rock the boat. So if they do make a move, it'll be at the end of the year for Washington because of the new ownership. And, I got to give credit to Coach Connor Cassidy here, our college football expert. I think he brought it up that, was Bowles Tom Brady's guy. And Brady's not there anymore. So if they struggle early on, maybe Bowles is gone because Tom Brady's not there to save them. So
I think I agree with that. But I think Bowles is Bruce Arians' guy too, which is he's still like in the front office, I think. So that'd be kind of difficult to see what happens. But I mean, yeah, if they're bad, he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
That was it, JT. Don't miss your cue. Come on, bro.
I'm not. Look. We've been giving so many predictions. I'm tired, man. Can I catch my breath and take a break, man?
No, they don't pay you to catch your breath.
They don't pay me at all. So you guys already know what time it is. Every year we do this annual show. We do a prediction segment. So this is what's going to make or break us. So Ken, you can't hide from the smoke either. We're going to go through the NFL awards and we're going to pick them out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about a team. So we talked about us on the show earlier. We talked about this every year. Like, who are the next Cincinnati Bengals? So last year I picked the Jaguars. So I'm going to put them in this category too. So we've seen a team break out, come out of nowhere, have this superstar season. Bengals, Jags. Who is going to follow that path this year that we haven't seen yet?
I know we've been talking about them a lot, but I'm gonna go with the Jets. Like
No.
they have a couple pieces around them.
Man, Hard Knocks got you out here just buying all the hype.
I'm saying, like, they got the defense, they got Aaron. Like, I think they can make something shake. And like I said, who would have thought the Jaguars? I mean, outside of you, but who would have thought the Jaguars?
I appreciate that. See, that's why you always welcome on this show, man.
Outside of you,
this segment's already terrible.
Hey, man. Hey, flattery will get you everywhere on this show. I appreciate you.
Worst segment of the show.
Don, who you got?
Washington. I got the Commanders, man. I'm all in. They got new ownership, new OC, new quarterback. Ron Rivera, he's not like an all-time great coach, but he's solid. He's taking teams to the playoffs. Like, he can get the job done
with a new engine, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but he's had less talent over the years to work with.
We can go back and look at that. But you're going to Commanders?
Yeah. I gotta look at some film.
You know what's funny? I was setting you up to give you credit because I thought you were gonna pick this team because you talked me into this about 3 months ago, and I'm seeing the light. I'm gonna stick with it. It's the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is.
I can get behind that.
This is the thing. I'm agreeing with you because I made that pick based on, first of all, I thought the Panthers would get Derek Carr. They did not. And I thought the Panthers would just make better offseason moves, and they have not. The Falcons doing everything that I thought that the Panthers would do. And I'm coming around. I'm seeing the light. I think the Falcons are going to be that team for everything that I picked the Jags for last year. Bad division, ascending quarterback, ridiculously young talent on that team. I think the coach knows what he's doing. He's pretty damn good. And that division is easily winnable. Like, they're going to be in shootouts basically every division game indoors on Sunday. So I'm going with the Falcons.
JT, it's funny. I had them written down too. I didn't know which way I wanted to go. I did have Atlanta.
I get what you're doing. You're trying to manifest this whole Sam Howell MVP thing. I get it. You've been doing this for a couple months now.
But this is the thing, Kendall. And again, I know he's a Cincy guy. Trevor Lawrence had a whole year under him, even though it was under Urban Meyer. He had a whole year of starting games. Desmond Ridder did it or doesn't. That would be my only concern. But I had Atlanta written down too. Time.
Sam Howell started one game.
I didn't know who to go with here. But
this man acts like Sam Howell was out there playing all 17. He played one game. It didn't matter. At least Desmond Ridder had some games that actually counted, man. All right, so of course, hey Chris, look, we're gonna acknowledge you, the Giants, but I guess they don't count because they broke out last year. They made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs, yeah.
But we'll put the Giants up there with this. So it's Giants, Falcons for me, Commanders for Don, and Ken. You want to say yours one more time for the fans at home?
The Jets.
The Jets, man. That man watching the Hard Knocks. All right, so let's go to the award predictions. I'm gonna give you an award. Tell me who's gonna win it. Let's start with the big boy, MVP. Ken, who you got?
I'm going Patrick.
Oh,
I mean, that's probably the safest choice.
You running it back 2 in a row? All right.
I say it's safest choice.
Man, I'll tell you, the past 20 years, 17 of the winners have been quarterbacks. So you got to go quarterback. I'm going to go Justin Herbert.
Damn, you stole my answer. I'm going Herbert too. I just think it's his time, man. I see him doing special things this year. All right, offensive player of the year. Let's have some diversity here. Come on, let's not all pick the same answer.
I'm going Justin Jefferson.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Herbert's teammate, Austin Eckler.
All right, I'm going Jamar Chase. I think he got that 2K season loading, man. We're going to see what's up. Defensive player of the year.
Sauce Gardner.
Hey man, look. Hey man, now I know for sure you got an HBO Max account, man. Let me get the login.
But crazy, I've only seen one episode of.
It's no way you only see one episode, man. You got that running 24/7 in your house right now. I know this for a fact.
No, true story. I've only seen the first episode of Hard Knocks. Promise.
Well, I'm going to be a homer here. I'm going TJ Watt.
Damn, we did this last year. Picking the same defensive player of the year. But last year we were right. We picked Nick Bosa. I'm going TJ Watt too.
Follow me, bro.
Nah. I said Nick Bosa first, but I'm following you this year because it's your guy, so I'll give you credit. I think T.J. Watt's going to break the sack record that he tied.
Really?
Okay. I think he's going to do it. I think it's set up for him to do it. So I'm going with him.
As our guy Kendall likes to say, I can get down with that. I can get down with him breaking that record.
Kendall, tell him to not ever do that again. All right, so offensive rookie of the year.
It sounds so much better when Kendall said it.
That's why he only allowed to say it. Kendall, man, you got this man acting funny over here to the right. Offensive rookie, who you got?
I got Bijan Robinson.
All right.
Hold on, Kendall. How are you going to say Nick Chubb wins the rushing title, C.J. Stroud's the best quarterback, rookie quarterback, and then not go with C.J. Stroud? I got C.J. Stroud. Back it up.
But his team is the reason. But the thing about it, his team is the reason why he won't be able to.
Exactly. He's going to throw it a lot. They're going to be behind in a lot of games.
I don't agree with his process, but I agree with his answer. Kendall, you're right. It's going to be Bijan Robinson. This man is set up to be the next Barry Sanders, according to everybody. Defensive rookie of the year. I think this is where we're going to have some variation. So, Kendall, who you got? Can you give us a Sauce Gardner type player this year and call this defensive rookie of the year?
Will Anderson. Honestly, I think he could have started in the NFL as a junior at Alabama. So I think he's going to make some noise when he steps on the field. I've gotten the chance to go to a few practices and seen him live eye. So he's definitely nice.
Hey, can you get us some field passes for Texans practices?
Hey, just give me a jersey. give me a Will Anderson jersey. That's all I need. I don't even need to be there. Just send me my jersey.
I mean, Will Anderson, great answer, Kendall. He's the odds-on favorite according to Vegas. I'm going to go a little bit out of the box. I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez. I liked him in the draft. I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez, cornerback.
I like those picks. I would love to pick Will Anderson. Only thing is, I feel like when you play that position, you gotta come out the gate getting like 12, 15 sacks, man. Like, I don't know if Will Anderson will be able to do that his first year. I'm going to take an unconventional approach too. I'm going to take Jack Campbell, linebacker for the Lions. I think he's going to be their leading tackler. And he's going to have a lot of opportunity to tackle because the Lions are going to be in hella shootout. So, yeah, I mean, he could be a top 10 guy in tackles at the end of the season. So that's usually a guy that will be in the running for defensive rookie of the year. So I'm going to go with him. Interesting. Coach of the year. I should have won this last year because it was him, but I don't think he won. I don't think Sirianni won coach of the year. Who won coach of the year last year? Daboll won. But I thought Sirianni should have won, so that was my pick last year. So I'm running it back with the risky pick. But Kendall, who's your pick for coach of the year?
Well, I think the Chiefs, they've been really good. They've looked good in the offseason also. So if they can get back to the Super Bowl, I think Andy should win.
Ooh.
Okay.
If they can get back, he should win. Because if they get back, I mean, the odds of winning are pretty.
I mean, that does make a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, if they can get back and win, they should have every award. And I mean, if they can go back to back, I mean,
they'll get everything.
What is there to talk
Payton,
about? Like
MVP.
what? You know what I'm saying? Like where we at?
All right. Andy Reid, I can get down with that. Don, who you got?
So JT, you're going Sirianni?
No. I'm just saying I'm going with the Sirianni type pick.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Arthur Smith because even though I picked Washington, that doesn't mean I didn't also have Atlanta. I think
it doesn't mean Atlanta. I can't cover my ass and pick Atlanta.
I mean, I think he's gonna get them to the playoffs, and I think people, because he's doing it with that specific team, is kind of like what Brian Daboll did, kind of what Doug Peterson did. So I'm going Arthur Smith.
We got the same answer, and I think people forget they almost got to the playoffs last year with the worst quarterback play in the league. So I'm excited to see what they can do this year. So Arthur Smith is also my pick for coach of the year. So we're gonna skip over comeback player of the year because we all know it's gonna be DeMar Hamlin.
Shout out to DeMar Hamlin. Great to see him on the field.
Glad to see him back. Hope he stays healthy this year. Definitely looking to see him continue his career and do big things. So that's all of our picks for comeback of the year is DeMar. All right, so here are the tough questions. Kendall and I were talking about this backstage, trying to iron out the kinks with it. So we're going to go each conference, AFC, NFC, 7 playoff teams that will get in. Let's start with the AFC. Kendall, who are your 7 teams that are in from the AFC?
So I'm going to go Bengals, Jets, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Colts, and Steelers.
Ooh. Because he didn't even pick the Steelers. I'll bet he did pick the Steelers.
Hey,
You ain't pick him. Take the jacket off. You didn't even pick
Are
him.
we doing AFC or is he going to do NFC? Can you?
No, we're gonna go AFC then go NFC.
Yeah, we're gonna do it one at a time.
You want me to go AFC?
Yeah, we're gonna do AFC first, and then we'll do NFC.
So I've got Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, the Chargers, Jacksonville, and New England.
All right. I got Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, Jags, Dolphins, Ravens, and Bills. All right, we'll see how this ends up. Don, write all these down and then send them to me so I don't have to go back and pull all the data. You're supposed to be the data guy.
Too late. I didn't write it down. You have to go back and listen.
All right, so Kendall, NFC, 7 teams in.
Giants, Bucks, Ravens, Vikings, Eagles, 49ers, and Bears. I think Justin's going to put that fire under him. I think he might get it there.
You had the Bucks and the Bears. Wow.
So clearly you don't think our Falcons thing is going to work. So Tom Bowles is not getting fired. Yo, Tom Bowles, hey, look, man, Kendall said you're going to have a job in 2024 with the Bucks. Damn. Hey, I like
you
it.
Win in the division. You win in the division. I mean, they could do it. They could do it. That division's not winnable, unwinnable for anybody. Sure. I've got Philly. I'm going New Orleans out of the South, San Francisco, Green Bay out of the North, and then Washington, Dallas, Atlanta.
All right. I like that. I got Atlanta as well. I got the 49ers. I got the Cowboys. I got the Eagles, and I got the Seahawks. And then my 2 surprise teams are the Packers and the Bears.
Well, I had the Packers as well. I had Washington. So each of you have the Bears, and I ended up going Washington there.
All right, perfect. All right.
Sam, you said you had Atlanta, JT? You had Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Falcons, yeah.
All right.
Here's where we make the money. Who makes it to the Super Bowl and who wins it? Kendall.
I know I said earlier that the Chiefs go back.
No, you can't go back on this. They got to be in there.
Hey, honestly, I think the Bengals had such a sour taste in their mouth from that game. I think they're going to beat the Chiefs and they're going to get there. And they're going to play the Eagles.
Okay.
And I think it's time for Cincinnati to win. It's time.
Wow.
It's time.
All right. Hey. He might not bring you back after picking the Bengals. But I figured this might happen. I figured somebody was gonna say that. I'm just making sure, man.
That's fine. That's fine. This is much better what I have on. But I'll tell you one thing. I don't think if you guys noticed it, I didn't pick them to get to the playoffs. Did not pick them to get to the playoffs.
I wanted to not pick them because I think we did that last year.
It's too tough of it. Listen, this is why. Too tough of a division. It's tougher this year. You don't have a rookie in Kenny Pickett. Deshaun should be better. Cleveland's offense should be better. Lamar should play all 17 games. I'm sorry, but if you're getting hurt first day of training camp,
is he really hurt though? I think it's like my contract extension is hurting. I don't know if he's really hurt.
This is what's going to happen. It's going to take him 2, 3, 4 weeks to really be the Joe Burrow Cincinnati offense. They can't afford that this year in that division. You just can't. I love how teams are like people on the national media are like,
hey man, get over it. He picked the Bengals. It's okay. He picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. Who do you have?
I've got Buffalo, San Francisco with Buffalo winning it.
All right. I'm gonna shock the world. I got 2 teams that nobody has. I got these guys versus the Cowboys. I got these guys versus the Cowboys.
I think at the end of the show, Kendall.
I got these guys versus the Cowboys. Hey, look, I called the Super Bowl last year. If y'all don't remember, I almost got it if it wasn't for Brock Purdy blowing up his elbow in the NFC Championship game. Because I had the Chiefs versus the 49ers last year. Did I not?
So to the fans and listeners out there, and Kendall, you now see what I got to put up with. He just said, I called it last year, remember? He's like, well, if this would have happened and that would have – listen, man, the Colts would have made the Super Bowl.
The Colts didn't even make the playoffs.
If Jonathan
the Colts didn't even make the playoffs.
We're good.
That's why the running backs at home now, and the coaches are fired because they didn't even make the playoffs. But no, I got the Ravens versus the Cowboys, and you know what? I think he's due. I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. I think it's Lamar's time. I think he's going to get it this year.
Love it. I would love it for Lamar. I would personally.
I nothing against Lamar. I would not like to see that because it's Baltimore. So you pick Cincy, he picks Baltimore. You know what? I may not have either of you on the show next year for the.
Hey, cool. We can just do this thing without you. So, hey, Kendall, I'll hit you up next week. We'll, we'll parlay. Yeah, I got you, man. We'll need him. Matter of fact, how do I take your ass off the studio right now? Let me remove him.
You don't even know.
Let's get a test run in. Let's get a test run of what the show will be like without him. We remove him.
It would definitely not be as entertaining. I'll tell you that.
All right, so I like those picks. We'll post them.
So, Kendall, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do weekend predictions, college edition. So, just JT and I are going to pick up. We already have Coach Cassidy's picks, which we'll give. But what we're going to do for you, Kendall, is off the set next week, we will get your NFL predictions all year. So, each week we'll come to you. We'll post them. We're going to keep track of them because at the end, you're going to be held accountable. Which three of us had the best percentage?
Hey, man, He ain't been held accountable for 3 years, man. He been so bad at this. Now he want the world to know how bad he is at this. Don't feel no pressure, Kendall. You ain't got nothing to worry about.
The spreadsheet might get accidentally deleted if my percentage is not the best.
He's going to be like 2 and 12 to start off. He'll be like, all right, delete.
So, JT, Colorado at TCU. Coach Cassidy has TCU. Who do you got?
He wrong. It's Colorado. TCU is not that good this year.
Wow. I'm gonna go TCU. UNC at South Carolina. Coach Cassidy had South Carolina. Who do you have?
I want to go UNC. I want to see what Drake May's got at least for one game before I throw it all away.
I'm going South Carolina home game for them. Yeah. I'm taking them.
I'll probably go South Carolina.
Oh, all right. Hey, now I feel even better about that one. Thank you.
He's setting you up, man. It's reverse psychology.
Boise. So Kendall, just for fun, we won't track it for you. Colorado at TCU. Who would you take?
I'll take Colorado. TCU, because TCU has some weapons, but most of them are going.
All right. Boise State at Washington. So Coach Cassidy took Washington. Who do you have, JT?
I got Washington as well.
All right. Me too. Kendall, who would you take?
I'm taking Washington as well.
All right. Clemson at Duke. Coach Cassidy took Clemson. JT, who do you have?
I wanted to take Duke so bad. I did. I just know Clemson. The bottom's gonna fall at some point, but I don't think it's gonna be week one. I got Clemson.
Yeah.
I've got them as well. It sounds like Kendall does as well. So all four of us. Last one, this is the tough one. Sunday night game. I think everyone's waiting all weekend for this one being played in JT's backyard at the mansion in Orlando. LSU versus Florida State. Coach Cassidy took Florida State. JT, who you got?
I hope he's watching because Mike Wallace will be at this game too, and I hope it's brutally hot. And you're gonna see LSU beat FSU.
Well, for Mike Wallace, he's a fan and listener of the show.
He's a family member, so I don't got to be nice to him. So all that introduction you doing for him don't matter to me. Like, my cousin know how I feel about him. I hate his team. They're gonna lose. That's that.
I'm going LSU. I think this is a revenge game for LSU. I think Florida State comes in with much more hype this year, maybe a little too overconfident, and LSU's playing real nice. They both have really good quarterbacks, but I'm going to go LSU. Even though I'm not a fan of Brian Kelly, I've told you this, JT, he proved me wrong last year. So, no, sorry, Kendall, no offense. I know you coached at Cincy. So
no, he left us, so no. He's
okay. Cool. Kendall, who are you taking in that one?
I'm taking LSU.
Okay.
The man know what he's talking about.
Of course he does. Of course. That's why he's our NFL expert. All right. So, to the fans and listeners out there, thank you, Kendall. Great show, man. A lot of laughs. Great job as always. But hey, we will revisit these picks. So don't go too far. We'd love to have you back either, midway through the year or at the end of the season like we normally do. So hopefully you'll be.
He's basically saying we'll call you back when it's safe for him to reveal his record. That's exactly. What he's going to call you back. If he's ahead in the lead, he'll call you back like week 4. If he's just bombing, he'll wait to the end of the season to call you back. I'm just letting you know how it's going to go.
Yeah. So keep your schedule available. Be flexible for us. But no, in all honesty, thank you for your time. As always, man, a lot of fun. Hang tight if you can. And actually, Kendall, let the listeners and viewers out there know where they can find you, like on Instagram, being a former NFL player.
You all can follow me on Instagram at King Ken with 2 G's. So KINGG_KEN.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to the fans and listeners out there, thank you again for listening to us. Remember, you can subscribe to us, JT and the Don All Sports Podcast. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember, if you like what we do, leave us a 5-star review. And JT,
if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, leave us a 5-star review.
Actually, I prefer you don't leave us a 5-star review if they win the Bengals. If the Bengals win, that's the Steeler in me. Doesn't matter. But also, please follow us on social media. Our handle, JT and the Don. We can be found on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So remember again, JT and the Don All Sports Podcast presented by Give Us a Shot Network. JT, a lot of fun. Thanks to King Ken and JT. Until the next episode. See you.
Peace.